Take a look.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Big Hero Chris back at you with another one. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, give me a thumbs up, ring the notification bell, hit me up on Twitter, TikTok, the community post. You already know the vibes, and it's Wednesday, so you already know what that means. It's time for your AEW Dynamite review. And I gotta say, man, for the most part, it was a pretty solid episode of Dynamite, man. You had some good wrestling, some story advancement, some more matches announced for AEW Dynasty. However, there's some things we gotta talk about. We gotta have a few conversations, but we're gonna start it off on a positive note. We're gonna start it off on a good note. We're gonna start off on the good foot. Will Ospreay versus Shibata. My God, man, what a match. And the thing I'm noticing AEW do a whole lot more. You can thank Ice Cube's son, you can thank whoever, but we're getting more video packages. We're getting explanations as to why these matches are important. We got the backstory of Shibata versus Ospreay, and the fact that the last time these two wrestled was like, what, 7 years ago. So, you know, good for AEW for keeping up this momentum, keeping the same energy, keeping hope alive, keeping fun alive, keeping the graps alive. And this match definitely kept the graps alive because, my God. And I'm just daring, I'm begging and pleading with Will Ospreay to have one bad match. I don't think he has it in him. I don't think he can do it, because Will Ospreay is probably one of the best wrestlers going today, man. This dude's awesome. The crowd's really into him. They're singing his song. They're chanting Ospreay, Ospreay. And Shibata, man, he's proving why he lives up to the moniker of being the wrestler. That's just his nickname, the wrestler, man. And these two cooked it up, man. These two cooked up something good. I'm pretty sure Dave Meltzer is going to give this 10 stars. Give it all the stars you can give it. Me personally, I thought it was a really good match, man. To the surprise of nobody, Will Ospreay ended up getting the win. And then after the match, you know, they bow to each other and show that respect. And even on AEW's Twitter, they posted a backstage interview with Will Ospreay, you know, talking about the match. And Will pretty much said that, you know, he's just a better wrestler than Bryan Danielson because he got a definitive win, whereas Bryan Danielson, he kind of got, you know, a little fluke win, you know. And even after the match, they had a post-match video package from Bryan Danielson, you know, giving his thoughts on Will Ospreay. So, you know, this is continuing the build to the big Bryan Danielson Will Ospreay match that's happening on Dynasty, and I personally can't wait for it, man. So after this, we had a backstage segment from Matthew and Nicholas, your EVPs, the Young Bucks. They're talking to Renee, and Renee's asking him about Private Party and the fact that they're going to face him in the tag team title tournament. And, you know, the Young Bucks reminisced on the last time that they wrestled Private Party, and they lost, and this led to possibly the worst year of the Young Bucks' lives, and they're going to make up for it tonight in this tournament. And this leads us to that tournament between Private Party and the Young Bucks. And I gotta say, man, the Young Bucks, this whole EVP gimmick, I'm digging it, man. I really like it. They're really good at playing assholes, right? Like these pricky, douchey assholes with their facial hair and their mustaches and their robes, and the fact that they have the Cody entrance and all of that, man. They had a cool shot of the Young Bucks coming up through the stage. So that was a pretty cool thing. Private Party, I would like to see a little bit more from Private Party because I like them as a team. You know, they're charismatic, they're funny, and they're pretty good as a team. You know, they're good wrestlers. So I wouldn't mind seeing them get some type of push. Maybe even a run with the tag team titles one day, man. Don't do what you did with Santana and Ortiz. Give Private Party at least one run. Just one run. That's all I ask. But unfortunately, that won't be happening anytime soon because the Young Bucks, one, there was cheating, there was shenanigans going on. The Young Bucks cheated first, and then Private Party cheated then after. They pulled the old Eddie Guerrero trick, but you know, the Young Bucks, they're smart businessmen, they're smart EVPs. I think it was Mark Quinn, he missed a 630 splash and landed right smooth on his back, and it looked like it sucked to land that way. And then the Young Bucks hit the EVP trigger to the back of Marquin. I think it was Nicholas that kind of, you know, botched a little bit. I don't know if he's hurt. I don't know what he has going on. He looked like you kind of like did that Shane McMahon maneuver. So I hope he's not, that the Young Bucks are okay. I hope Nicholas is okay. And then, you know, speaking of this whole tag team tournament, we got to get into a little rant. But first things first. To my surprise, actually, the Best Friends defeated the Undisputed Kingdom. There was one point where Roddy was being a distraction, and then Chuck, he said, nah, we ain't have none of this, whole bro, and helped the Best Friends end up winning, and they're advancing in the tag team tournament, and they will face the Young Bucks next week, I think, to continue this March Madness type tournament. You even had the Young Bucks come back. And speaking of funny facial hair, earlier in the show you saw Matthew with a beard, and then when he came out to face the Best Friends, he just had a mustache. I don't know what he has going on. I don't know how the Young Bucks are able to grow their facial hair so fast in the span of a week. I don't get it, but you know, it is what it is. But it is rant time, rant numero uno. And this rant is dedicated to the Undisputed Kingdom and how these guys absolutely suck as a team. And I've been thinking about it for a couple of weeks now. Thinking about how things might have been different if Adam Cole wasn't injured. Hell, even if MJF wasn't injured. And I've come to the conclusion that even if you had a healthy Adam Cole and a healthy MJF, this team would still suck because their booking sucks. Last week you had Adam Cole voicing his displeasure for Wardlow, calling him a disappointment, saying that Wardlow should, you know, be like the bodyguard for the Undisputed Kingdom. And he wasn't out there with them, right? Like, he couldn't help. What was he doing? Like, what was he doing? This team sucks. Adam Cole sucks. Wardlow sucks. Taven and Bennett sucks. The only person that's decent in this group is Roderick Strong. And you can't really even say that because Roderick Strong hasn't wrestled since he won the what was it? I almost said the Universal Championship, the International Championship. He hasn't wrestled. So what is he doing? I don't know, but the Undisputed Kingdom absolutely sucks. I don't know what they have to do to revamp this group or fix it or whatever, but as of right now, they suck as a group, bro. Another thing that kind of sucks, but not necessarily in a bad way, but it sucks that this happened to old Darby Allin, who unfortunately cannot climb Mount Everest because he broke his foot. So, you know, he showed up on Dynamite with Tony Hawk of all people. And, you know, they're talking about a charity that they're doing, like a fundraiser, you know, I forget what it's called, but it's going towards, you know, skate parks and, you know, keeping that alive. Because Darby said without skateboarding, you know, who knows where you would be. Anyway, man, support your local skate parks, support your local skateboarders, you know, get you some skate shoes and some Jinko jeans, you know. Give Tony Hawk your money and all that fun jazz. But this leads us to rant numero dos. And that is because, damn, Chris Jericho is back. I almost forgot about Chris Jericho and his proposition to Hook. And basically what it is Chris Jericho is offering his services as, I'm guessing, a manager to Hook. And I'm like, oh, brother, this guy stinks. And I started thinking about this as well. And I started thinking, maybe this wouldn't be as bad if we didn't see Jericho do the same thing with Sammy Guevara. If we didn't see Chris Jericho do the same thing with the Inner Circle, if we didn't see Jericho do the same thing with the Jericho Appreciation Society, if we didn't see Jericho do the same thing with Daniel Garcia. And none of those people came out on the other side better because of their affiliation with Chris Jericho, right? So I'm immediately holding my head and like shaking my head at the prospect of Jericho and Hook being, I'm assuming, the new Darby and Sting, because that's the only thing I could think of. Like, Chris Jericho had this idea, well, Sting isn't around, he doesn't have Darby, so maybe we can be the new Darby and Sting. That's my mindset as to how Chris Jericho thinks. I don't like this at all. I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna give it a chance, but I don't like it, man. Like I said last week in my review, Chris Jericho just needs to take some time off. You know, give people a chance to miss him. Isn't Fozzy going on tour? Like, go on tour for a year. Just go away for a whole year and come back, and then maybe people would appreciate you and miss you a little bit more. But as of right now, this stinks. But, you know, on the other side of this, we had Mercedes Mone show up. She's showing up to be the guest commentator for the Fatal 4-Way match to determine who will be the #1 contender for the TBS Championship. Now, 3 of the 4 I can understand. I don't know what Anna Jay's been doing recently to get her in this opportunity, but you know, it's always good to see Anna Jay on television, so yeah. Anyway, one thing that I noticed was the fact that Mercedes Mone does not trust Willow Nightingale. And for one reason is because Willow beat her for the New Japan Women's Championship or whatever. But you know, there's a part of Mercedes that kind of blames Willow for breaking her ankle or her heel or her foot or whatever. So you know, she's feeling a certain type of way. So you know, there's that. And she just doesn't trust Willow for some reason. She says like she smiles too much. There's something behind that smile, and Chris really should watch her back. And you know, commentary's kind of asking her, well, who is she want to face out of these 4? And Mercedes kind of big upping everybody while kind of downplaying at the same time as true boss fashion, like the CEO that she is. And you know, the match itself was good. It was a good match. You know, Willow's hitting pounces out of nowhere. Chris is just a beast. She's awesome. You had Stokely on the sidelines with his big goofy bald head and whatever. And there was even one spot where it looked like Willow and Chris were gonna go at it a little bit because it is a fatal 4-way, but you know, that was broken up. So that's foreshadowing and teasing something going on in the futures. But as for tonight, as for this night, Willow Nightingale got the win. She hit the Babe with the power bomb, and she's the new #1 contender. She will be facing Julia Hart at Dynasty, so that should be a pretty solid match. And I'm low-key hoping that Willow Nightingale wins, and that kind of furthers this whole thing between her and Chris, and possibly her and Mercedes, you know, for the championship. And speaking of Julia Hart, she showed up after the match and attacked Willow, and Chris came through with a save, and Mercedes was on the sidelines looking as beautiful as absolutely possible. My gosh, she's something special. But you know, speaking of something special, we had a random ass segment between Tony Storm and the guy from AMC, I think. You know, they did some stupid shit. He tried to get him to say tits and he wouldn't say it, so there's that. But this leads me to my third and final rant, and that is because for some particular reason we had a backstage segment between The Butcher and Dustin Rhodes hyping up a match for Rampage. Now last week I had to watch Rampage because it was right after Dynamite, and because I wanted to watch the main event for the women. So you know, I actually sat through a whole episode of Rampage. This week I'm absolutely not watching Rampage, especially if you're gonna give me something stupid like Dustin Rhodes versus The Butcher. Now this is in no disrespect to either one of these two, man, because you know they're doing the thing, they're competitors. I just don't give a shit. I don't care about Dustin Rhodes. I don't care about The Butcher. Respectfully, I don't care. So if there was a reason for me to watch Rampage, this ain't it. So, and I lied. There's another rant I gotta go on. What the hell happened to the rankings? Now apparently the rankings are gonna be available after this episode of Dynamite. Whoop-de-doo, I don't care, because you had an opportunity to bring the rankings back. You had an opportunity to be serious about this shit, and you didn't do it. So at this point, just throw the rankings away. Give it away. I don't care. Get rid of it. You're not consistent. Give it away. We don't care, little bro. Kyle O'Reilly's going to have a match on Collision. Yep. That's it. Speaking of Collision, Adam Copeland is the new TNT champion, and he's bringing back the Cope Open. So who knows who he's going to wrestle this Saturday on Collision? Maybe Kyle O'Reilly. Maybe it might be you. Maybe it might be The Blade. Maybe it might be The Butcher or Dustin Rhodes. Who knows? But this leads us to our main event, and this is between none other than whose house? Swerve's house and Takeshita. And good God, speaking of something special, Takeshita, man. Takeshita, this dude, I think Takeshita was created in a lab. I don't think he's a real person. I think he's a robot designed for wrestling. Like, he was built and modeled for the art of pro wrestling, because this dude is unreal. He is an animal. He's a beast. He's just awesome, man. And Swerve is doing his thing as well. And you know, speaking of the rankings, this will be to determine who would take the #1 spot in the rankings, and this is basically to see who will be the #1 contender. And this was a phenomenal match, man. This and the opening match were the best matches on the entire show. Takeshita kicked out of a Swerve stomp. I'm like, what? Swerve had to hit his swerve stomp standing up on Takeshita, and then he hit the big pressure. I keep wanting to call it the big business, but it's called the big pressure. So, there's that. So Swerve is officially, once again, the #1 contender for the AEW Championship. And then after the match, you had Samoa Joe talking to Renee. And he pretty much said that Swerve is not signing up for a championship match. He's signing up to catch another fade at the hands of Samoa Joe. And that was a cold line. So I'm assuming that they're going to have a contract signing to make this official match official, because you can't have wrestling without a contract signing. Because if not, the world will come to an end, robots will take over, and we will all die a horrible death. So thank you, Pro Wrestling, for keeping the robots away with your contract signings. We appreciate you greatly. But with that being said, guys, what did you think of this week's episode of Dynamite? It was okay, it was solid, it had some good wrestling. It had some bullshit on here, but other than that, good show, man. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Of course, as always, like, comment, subscribe. You guys take care. I'm out. Peace.